the most important thing you can invest in if you're going for the first time.
Most of the viewers here on this channel the majority are still doing some type of craft booths. Even you and L'Oreal, a huge company, a worldwide company, right? Yet you guys still do big craft booths. And so a popular question is some tips on how to set up craft booths. And everyone has got their own strategies and tips for doing that, and there are a lot of ways to do it. But I always got my help for craft booth designs from Tara or others. So I wanted to ask Tara to give us some tips, give everyone some tips on setting up displays and basically just how to run a craft booth.
Before you even get into the craft booth, we highly scrutinize our booth location. It's kind of a lot of drama sometimes, but it's you pay more for a corner at pretty much every expo show. It's worth every dollar.
Yeah.
I would say the physical setup of the booth should be as open as you can possibly make it in a tight space. I mean, we're talking 10 by 10, 10 by 20, probably for these types of situations.
Yeah.
So you either want, a table up front where you're able to display all of your products, or you want to make it where kind of in a U shape where customers can enter in.
As far as the physical setup of the booth, there are several ways to do this. A lot of people kind of start with just a standard table, and then you sit behind the table, you've got your products on the table, and then you're back behind it to kind of like help or talk to customers and then, and then check out. It's going to depend on what space you're working with. Like if you're at an event where all you get's the one table, like that's all you have, you don't really have a choice. You just have to kind of sit behind it. At a larger event where you have a little bit more space, I much prefer having a U shape where the customers have more room to enter into your space and shop around. And you'll see it in my display. But I like to have basically walls of products lining and then along the back so they can walk in and shop almost like they're in a little store. And then my checkout is kind of off to the side. So I'll pick one edge of that U to try to stay out of their way. And it also helps with the flow of traffic. She helps the customers. So like while they're picking out products, she'll grab them for them and set them aside for them so they don't have to carry it around. She just knows what to say, and she's very, very good at it. So she loves doing that part. She loves being out on the floor. I let her do that as much as she wanted while I kind of was doing more of the checkout, talk to the customers as they were checking out, bagging up their orders, telling them about the website.
Style of your booth, the colors, the fixturing you're using, all has to go back to that brand vision. What are you trying to sell? What mood are you trying to set?
Yeah.
What do you want your products to say? And then it's about product placement. So if your top sellers are not front and forward, it's wrong. And you don't need to put everything you own out. We sell fragrance at these holiday shows, and we have trucks on the dock full of stuff.
Yeah.
We don't make it look like I have 300 of those ready to go. You want to create that
like
sense
a hot
of
commodity.
Yeah, you have to create sense of urgency.
I'm glad you talked about the booth setup because I'm horrible at the actual how to design the booth. And I can give a pretty good example here. The first year I had that corner booth here in Kansas City, I had never had a corner one. I had no idea how to set this thing up. And I moved in at like 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. We had all day and part of next day to get ready. It's a big event. And I sat there after I unloaded everything, I sat there from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. and I hadn't done anything. I just sat there and I was like, I just kept looking around and I did not know what to do.
You're just surrounded by inventory going on.
Yes, and there's other ladies in booths sitting around me and they're just staring at me like, why is he not doing anything? And it's really embarrassing, but you learn from it too. But the point is have a plan. If you know what your booth space is going to look like going into it, spend some time before the event thinking about that, because when you try to wing it, you just waste so much time.
I want to talk a little bit more about merchandising or the display. So if being in retail and this kind of business is a little new to you, the term merchandising basically is how to market, sell, and display your products for the best opportunity to be sold. As I mentioned, Tara is really, really good at this. Me being in this business long enough, I've started to learn really well what works for me versus what doesn't work as well. So between the two of us, we're usually pretty good at merchandising. So when we were doing the merchandising and setting up our displays, we were focused on highlighting new items and best sellers. Those are what we want to focus everyone's attention on first, because you want to test the new items, see how people react to them, because it's valuable information going forward. But then of course you want your best sellers out there as well, because if everyone if people are buying your best sellers and those are also really good products, then people are going to want to buy more stuff and they keep coming back. So I think it goes without saying your best sellers you want front and forward facing. And then the key with merchandising is being willing to adapt and change things. So what you might think is the best setup, you've got to be willing to change it. If you see it's getting no eyes, no views, no traction after a few hours, change it, move it around, take it down and move something else up and see if you get better results. Part of merchandising was bringing some of these other decor items too. So we built a few scent trays, which is basically like little metal trays or platters that have some type of materials that represent the scent. And you'll see this in a few images, but you know, a very easy example would be if you've got a cinnamon type candle, you'll have some cinnamon sticks out, right? That's a very obvious one. We had a Cotton Creek candle that has some cotton on it, or orchid candle that has some orchids with it. For the tobacco candle, we had some tobacco and some sugar crystals and a pipe. For the distillery candle, we had a whiskey bottle. For Saddle Shop, we had some leather. You can do this with pretty much every fragrance. So we took some of the best sellers and some of the newer collections and went all out with those decor to try to promote those a little bit more. And it really, really does help.
And then something that we've always done is we always have a show special. So sounds a little cheesy, but something that only happens when they're shopping from you there, because
No, yeah, I do the same thing.
right. So shows are fast. You really have a short period of time to catch a customer's attention. You know, they're walking past, you know, so it just needs to be very clear.
Something I did the last few times. I don't do as many of these anymore, just due to lack of time. But what really worked for me was kind of doing show giveaways and show raffles. And so if you, depending on how much you spent in the booth, you received either raffle tickets or you got to draw from these different baskets. And depending on which route I went, you either gave away multiple raffle tickets depending on how much they spent, and then you did a couple show giveaways, and you would show them what they're getting. It could be a basket or some type of nice combination of your products that you can give away and contact them afterwards. And the other way was every single purchase they got to grab from this other basket, and it was a 10% off or 20% off, but hidden inside were also a couple 50% off and things like that. And just that chance to get that is enough for people to want to do some shopping there. So
the promotion that I've done at this event pretty much every year, and it works really well, is buy 3, the 4th is free. And there's no limit on that. So every 3 items they buy, they get another item for free. And they can mix and match any items. They can buy like 2 wood wick candles and a standard candle and a 2-wick candle, or they can buy 2 wax melts and 2 standard candles. Whatever it is, the 4th item is free. Now, generally speaking, as you might assume, it's going to be the cheapest of the items that is the free one, but customers know that and they expect that, so they usually kind of plan accordingly as well.
A selling strategy that we always use in department stores is during the holiday season, we use who, and you. Sounds silly. So when when we're working with the customer, we don't want to be high pressure, but who are you shopping for? Because obviously they're on a mission. So who are you shopping for? And then we find something and we're satisfied. Who else is on the list? So we're making them kind of dig through. Oh my God, I don't have my teacher covered, or my son's girlfriend. Okay, I have a great suggestion. And then what about for you? You got to treat yourself. I mean, come on, I know you loved whatever that product is. And so by that time in the sale, they're trusting, we're having a good time. Yeah. And you can expand out that unit sale pretty easily when you're just asking those, probing questions without seeming, how much money do you have to spend?
No, that's a good way of doing it.
You don't want to be a car salesman, obviously, but we're all here to sell and make money, right? So the most important thing you can invest in if you're going for the first time is branding on your bag. So whether you're getting them foil printed, I know that's expensive from my small craft store days, or getting the label and sticking it on there, like invest in the larger size. That is absolutely the best free advertising you can get at those shows. These ladies, gentlemen spend hours there. So when I go, obviously I'm with L'Oreal, but I'm partnering with Dillard's or Macy's to go to these shows. They always request that I use their bags to sack my fragrance because it's a Macy's 25 times around. Yeah.
It's subliminal messaging all the time.
And especially if this is a show you intend to go back to. So after you find that great booth, you want to stay there. You don't want to move. Your customer will remember where you are. And if they have forgotten to stop by, they're going to see your bag and go, oh my God, black tie's here. Yeah. I got to grab my candles. It's that.
Or they might not even know you're there.
Right.
So
Yeah, so that I would say that's really a place to start if you're going for the first timer.
This kind of goes back to how to set up a craft booth, but I used to try to decide between, should I put my scents together, even if it's different jar styles together, or should I separate the different lines of candles that look different, even though now I'm separating the fragrances? I actually went that route. Lindsay always disagreed with me on that, but that's why I'm asking you. I always thought it was a better idea to put the look and feel of the product together, because people are buying with their eyes first, and they want to know what's going to look good. Like, they're attracted to that first, that look, and then who cares if the fragrances are split?
Right.
You know,
Absolutely.
So I carry that fragrance in a couple different lines. I don't see how that's a problem, but that's the method I went, and I would suggest that too if anyone's deciding on how to split or arrange their products at a show.
And when you're helping someone shop, you know, they might be in the primitive section or the more country style, and you're shopping for your girlfriend. Well, I have the same scent and this white over here, you know, and helping them cross over.
So what I used for the checkout system is a square stand. I make sure to test it the night before the show, make sure there's no problems. But other than that, it just works great. And so I continue to use it. So the faster you can make the checkout and the sales process for them, the better. How I do pre and post inventory. And this isn't something I've always done, but I've been doing it the last few years. And let me tell you, for me, it is so much better. And this is where I'm gonna also talk a little bit more about Crafty Base, because it's what I use to at the end of this process. In the past, I used to put all of my items into my sales system. I'd have all my items listed, and when people brought those items up, I'd find it, and I'd add that to their cart and check it all out. And then all of those items would, at the end of the day, I had an exact quantity of every single item I sold. It sounds great in theory, right? Because like everything, you know, everything is correct. And the best part about that is if you're using Crafty Base, it can import all of those in for you. You don't have to do anything other than just verify everything is correct once the show is over. So again, this sounds great. However, it to me is not the best option. And there's a couple reasons why. As I talked about earlier, I am focused on the customer experience, and I want it to be fast and quick and efficient for them. If they bring 9 candles up and I'm hunting around for that specific jar and scent and everything in my checkout system, that is slow, slow, slow. It used to take so much longer to do checkout. So instead, here's what I've done the last couple of years. I just create basically 5 buttons on my checkout system. My 7-ounce candle, my 13.5-ounce 2-wick candle, my 10-ounce wood wick candle, my wax melts, and my lighter. So 5 buttons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No matter what scent they choose, I just hit that button. So if they buy like 4 wood wicks, 3 2 wicks, and a couple single wicks, I just boom, 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 boom. It's very simple, easy peasy. And because I do that free, buy 3, get 4th one free, I just put a same button underneath each one of those, and they're color coordinated. That is just the free option for that. So it's the exact same item, except for instead of being $12, for example, it's free. Or instead of being $22, it's free. So it's just 2 rows, the 5 products, and then the 5 free products. It is so much faster. No matter what people bring up to checkout, I can have them done in like 10 seconds. I just hit those buttons enough times and I'm done. I do not care at all at the time what scent they are choosing. Well, I think you see the initial benefit. It's much faster, right? And it's much easier. The other major benefit is before the show, I do pre-inventory. So I just take an inventory of everything I'm taking to the show. At the end of the show, I take the inventory again. The difference is what I sold in each of those scents. That's it. Like, it's that easy. You're gonna have to do inventory anyways. So I use that process to tell me exactly what I sold rather than having the itemized buttons for every single thing that I have in the checkout system.
Something else that we've done, if you have enough space in your booth, sometimes people don't want to buy your candles because they don't want to carry them around.
Oh, I do that. I hold their bag for them.
You hold their bag.
Yeah, with a little tag.
With the ticket, yes,
or
phone number.
name, yep.
And that sounds dumb.
No, it works.
It works.
Everyone takes advantage of that. If they know they can, they're like, can I just leave this? Yes. And I have a whole shelf that I keep in the very back or under a specific table lined with orders that people are just going to come back and pick up on the way out.
Absolutely.
And surprisingly, I've never had someone forget one.
No, they never forget.
Which is weird. I would. I mean, that was my concern. I was like, someone's going to forget. Then I'm going to get called and I have to ship it. And that'll be a mess. I've never had that happen.
Yeah.
A lot of people have a certain kind of palette for fragrances that they like. It could be outdoorsy and woodsy. It can be fruity. It can be bakery scents. Whatever the case may be, customers usually have a preference. And if they're shopping for someone, they usually know the preference of that person they're shopping for as well. So don't be afraid to ask them and then try to lead them in the right direction, because ultimately you're going to lead to a better customer experience because they're going to be more satisfied with the result, with the product that they get. So you don't want to be overbearing. You don't want to be pushy at all. I'm like very much against that, but be willing to have a conversation with them, a very short one, and just say, hey, is there anything I can help you find? Are you drawn to any particular scents? Over here, we've got our kind of food and bakery type scents. And over here, we've got our more woodsy and pine and outdoor fragrances. Or if you're looking for something for your husband, we've got our masculine scents here on this shelf and our hideaway collection. There's just a lot of things you can do to help lead your customers in the right direction.
We do a lot of business from the other vendors.
Oh, yes.
So the walk around, here's a new sample, come see me. They don't buy it first because you got to make sure everybody's having a good show.
Right.
They're getting some money.
Yeah.
And if you're able to offer an additional discount to those people, it'll pay off. I mean, with what I'm doing, and that's never an option, we usually kind of give them extra goodies to go with their sale, but you can make a lot of money selling to the vendor. So don't forget about that piece.
I always have a vendor discount, and especially during setup, walk around. You don't want to take their time because they're trying to set up, but just quickly say, hey, I'm Black Tie Barn. I'm just down. I just want to let you know that if you want to interested in checking out any of the products, I'm giving you all the vendors 30% off or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's a great tip. And it's also worth doing because I have picked up wholesale clients at vendors by just giving them, well, one of them purchased product and then contacted me after, and the other expressed interest. And if you know they're interested in potentially being a wholesale customer, just give them the product to test. Because you would do that anyways. You would walk around your local, your local city or town and drop off samples for stores. So it's the same thing at a booth, except for it's a lot easier because you're there with 300 other companies or however many, sometimes many more than that.